Hello, everybody. Thank you for being here. It's getting towards the end of a long day, and I appreciate all of your attention and exchange for media's support as well. This is Acoustic's inaugural event as Acoustic in Asia Pacific. I've been here many times before. This is the brand we're carving out of IBM Watson Marketing and creating the, as was mentioned, the largest independent marketing cloud provider. So I'm going to talk to you today a bit about the right marketing technology stack and giving some practical examples of where we're seeing technology really improve and answer some of those challenges that we've had a lot today about today. So I'll dive straight in. 90% of the world's data has been created in the last 12 months. It's now the world's most valuable resource over oil, and much has been made today about the challenges that creates for marketers. Data in multiple silos, not integrated, difficult to therefore have a single customer view, and then to therefore be able to provide the experience that consumers are increasingly demanding. In addition to too much data and an ever-increasing number of channels emerging, we also have too many tools. The average organization has 91 marketing tools, and I'm sure many of you have seen that Scott Brinkler slide of all the technologies that marketers are using. And we heard a bit today about the need for niche solutions, undoubtedly, but also the quick fixes and the multiple solutions that are built in-house, that are taken from multiple sources, resulting in profiles and customer experiences being very fragmented and therefore hard to address. Not only that, but I think marketers who are tasked with providing differentiated customer experiences in that environment aren't competing with your industry competitors. You're competing with Instagram, you're competing with Flipkart, Amazon, you're competing with Paytm. You're competing with the greatest digital experience being provided in the palm of someone's hand every day. Paradoxically, and I think possibly as a result of some, increasing skepticism and trust issues, consumers are less and less willing to share the data that is necessary to make these experiences more personalized. GDPR, of course, born out of Europe, but I think something that we're seeing expand and have create ripples and conversations outside of Europe. We're trying to fix these problems all the time, and I think, however, though, the way we're trying to fix them, the way we're trying to handle some of this, is with more of the same. We heard that earlier. We're having more applications to do specialist use cases. We're demanding more time from more people, which is challenging as we know that our marketing team sizes aren't increasing, budgets aren't necessarily increasing. And we're waiting for results, which means that we can't optimize. We can't change in real time to optimize those experiences. And the result, of course, is a poor customer experience, a poor marketer experience. Customer experience matters, we know this. 89% Gartner says of organizations believe that customer experience drives differentiation. And an IBM study says that it also drives profitability. Globally, CX, those who provide excellent customer experiences have an average 17% growth rate, whereas that's 3% for what we term CX laggards. And you only have to look at United Airlines, who lost $1.4 billion in market capitalization as a result of throwing somebody off an aeroplane, to know that that was both bad customer experience and bad financials. So it matters. I think we saw earlier, and I won't play it now again, but the video about You Don't Know Jack. We're trying really hard. All of the clients and the marketers I talk to are trying really hard to make sense of data and provide those personalized experiences, but it's really hard finding the signals in the noise to be accurate in your personalization. We, as marketers, of course, and this was discussed very well in the panel, are trying to provide a seamless customer experience across multiple channels, online and offline, that's highly personalized, contextual to the customer, consistent both in look and feel and in experience, and of course efficient, being able to do this with small teams and large audiences at scale. So, in this environment, what do we see as emerging in technology and marketing stacks that can help? And I think, what I'd like to spend a bit of time talking to you about is AI and how that is helping today. Not AI as a buzzword, but really, how is it able to help us today? Where do we see it in a marketing technology solution? Briefly, someone once asked me the difference between machine learning and AI, and I like the definition that machine learning gives you knowledge and AI provides wisdom. I also really like how, and this came from IBM, has been very adamant about AI being about augmented intelligence, where cognitive technologies are enhancing humans in what they are doing, not replacing them. And we know that as compared to human intelligence, AI can process more information with less energy, is more objective and accurate. But humans excel at social interactions, at self-awareness, at adapting and multitasking. And so where I see real potential is in where AI and humans come together to really help answer some of those challenges I talked about. I'm going to focus on some of these areas. AI today is really about uncovering those actionable insights, finding signals in the noise, and helping you automate and optimize as a result of those triggers. It is also, of course, changing the way that we work. It's fundamentally changing the workflows and how we access the tools so that we can spend more time being creative and imaginative rather than plowing through reams of data. So I told you I was going to go through some specific examples, and I'm going to do this by looking at a typical customer journey. This is a typical customer journey along the bottom with the different phases of the funnel. And these dots are really capabilities or features within a marketing technology stack, within a marketing cloud, that are AI-enabled and will help improve and optimize that customer journey. So these are just some examples here, and I'm going to dive into a couple of these in the next bit. So first of all, I'm going to focus on acquisition. And acquisition is really interesting because it's the point in time where we're spending a lot of money trying to go and find new customers, but it's also the point where we don't know very much about those people. We don't know their demographic information. We don't know all their behaviors. We don't have any transactional history. So how do we really make sure that we're providing a seamless, consistent customer experience at this time? We know that if we get this right, they're more likely to convert into being a customer. Personalizing that experience right out of the gate is meaningful and impactful when it comes to that conversion funnel. So that means that we need to think about how to provide a relevant and engaging customer experience right at the beginning. You may hear, therefore, the term adaptive content. What does that mean? How do we provide adaptive content? Well, it's about knowing your audience, of course, knowing as much about them as you can so that you can serve up something relevant. But it's also about knowing your content and being able to manage that in a way that enables you to display the right content at scale. AI has a real application here. And what we have in the Acoustic Marketing Cloud is a headless CMS with AI capabilities that, as you're uploading your content, will start using image recognition, will provide metadata suggestions in your tagging. So it saves hours of effort, as well as the tags that somebody typically enters in manually to an unnamed image. You'll see here, you can see as an example, Watson is providing multiple additional tags that you can then agree to or not agree to, standardizing the way that your images are tagged, but also meaning that you can then start to provide a much richer, more engaging experience because your digital assets can therefore be personalized more easily. So you can see here then that means that it's not just one piece of content, not one bit of and/or on a basic image, but these images are tagged much more richly. These are all related. Yes, they're all holiday destinations, and they all contain water, but maybe there's also more intent behind them. So it's a relaxing, family-free type holiday. And by having those kinds of tags in those images means that you can collate these images together and provide a much more engaging, richer experience more easily. When it comes to knowing content, it's not just about image recognition, but also understanding the tone and the sentiment analysis of your content and how that's being received by your subscribers. So again, within our campaign tool, you have AI looking at the subject lines in this example, providing recommendations then on what the tone, well, first of all, analyzing the subject line and what the tone and the sentiment of that subject line is, and then providing recommendations on what performed well and what performed badly. This is in subject lines now, but you see this expanding into all other parts of content. Here's an example of that. Another, I think, often overlooked area, apart from by Google, who certainly knows the power of search, is in the search capability on sites. 70% of people who come onto websites are looking for something in particular. We know a significant amount of research is done before consumers come to the site. And if they don't find what they're looking for, a significant proportion of that will drop off and not return. So how then do we make our search on our sites more engaging, more accurate, more relevant in the results that they're surfacing? And where AI comes in with this is in understanding, not just categorizing, but in really understanding the intent of what somebody is looking for based on behavior and based on the natural language piece. So this is an example of a hardware website, and they have a huge inventory of things they're trying to sell around bathroom fixtures, sinks, taps, you name it. And here you can see an example of someone's written in how to fix my sink. Well, this brand has an enormous amount of helpful content that it uses to nurture and educate their prospects. And in this case, AI is able to understand that this person isn't looking for buying a sink. And if you'd go to most hardware websites, that's what would happen. You type that in and you get a whole list of, hardware to buy. And instead here, the intent is understood and more helpful how-to tips and tricks and videos are served instead, designed to keep that person on the site, engage them, educate them, and guide them towards a purchase, which ultimately they aren't ready to make just from that search term. Okay, so that's acquisition. I'm going to move now into the conversion piece of the customer journey, so here in the middle. And this is really where we already have identified them, and they're now looking to buy. This is an incredibly important part of the customer journey, of the funnel. It's the moment in time where the behavioral signals will show you that they are ready to buy. But if something goes wrong at that moment, if they're distracted, if something is not seamless, they struggle, they drop off, the majority of them won't come back. That's a lead lost forever. So how do we make sure that that process is seamless, that we can understand what customer struggles are there and make sure that we're fixing them, as well as retargeting those people who've had a problem so that they come back more quickly? And this is a place where I think AI plays a hugely interesting role. So out of you here in the audience, how many of you use Google Analytics? Quite a few. Adobe Analytics? And the rest of you, I'm not sure. So the vast majority of you will be using one of these, and that's really great. Once you've tagged all of your assets and your pages, you get a very good sense of what's happening. How many people are tracking through certain pages. It will even tell you that, in hindsight, you had a big drop-off on, a basket abandon. But it doesn't show you why something happened. It won't tell you, why did I have such a large drop-off on the checkout page or on that form page month. AI, however, can. So this is a screenshot from the Acoustic Analytics application. And what this is doing is tracking the behaviors on your digital assets, in this case, a website. And it really acts as a kind of almost a video camera on the shoulder of the person using it. So here you can see there's an anomaly. It's found an anomaly. It's alerted the marketer. It can see that there's an issue in the checkout page. Down here are the contributing factors. And you can see at the top contributing factor is a promotion code error. You can quickly play on any one of the sessions that resulted in that error, and very quickly the marketer was able to understand that it was due to an incorrect promotion code had been released in one of their campaigns. It was actually on social, and so when people were coming in to try and fill out that field, it dropped off. This was alerted to in real time, and they're able to then fix it. That's not possible to do, certainly not in any reasonable time frame using web analytics alone. So this works with web analytics to provide that next level of detail. PayPal have this implemented at huge scale, obviously, on all of their assets. And there's a video which I'd encourage you to go and find, but where they talk about the impact this has had on their business. They reckoned just by tracking those, I think it was a single form of error, it was sort of majority on timeout errors, on their payment process, they're saving about $3 million in checkout, just because that, in their case, they needed to make sure that process was seamless so that people could finish their transactions and transact more. They actually connect this directly to their call center, and so when there's a problem, it's able to be fixed much more quickly because the call center people can use this to pinpoint exactly what the problem is and fix it. The same anomaly capabilities exist also in your programs, in your marketing automation. So, just as in the example before, the marketer's being alerted to a problem on the site, here we're also using AI to alert the marketer of anomalies in any number of factors around, open rates, bounce rates, click rates, and so on. So, real-time alerting to make sure that you can, address an issue if there is one, or if something's going particularly well to replicate it. And if you think of these multi-wave campaigns going out in your organization, again, digging through the data to identify that proactively, next to impossible. I'm going to quickly share with you a story from a client, and this comes from a presentation that they made to us. This is a retail brand out of the UK. And they implemented acoustic analytics, and they said that this really helped them change the conversation internally in their brand from what do we think is going wrong to what are we fixed first. And that's because they had a much clearer idea of what the issues were, the value of the impact those issues were having, and then be able to prioritize accordingly. Like many of you here, they have users, multiple, wide range of customers using multiple browsers and so on, multiple different products. They're a retail company. And so ultimately they work. They've got about 80,000 different possible conversion pathways that can be taken by any individual. So when they're thinking about optimizing their site, optimizing their customer experience, they don't even know where to start. That's a very complex environment to know what to do with. So how do they deliver quality experience with this complexity? Having implemented the analytics capability, 24 hours later they had an alert. And it was only for those people who followed one of those 80,000 paths. Turns out it was costing them hundreds of thousands of dollars in lost revenue because of a checkout failure. People were going, and they were alerted to it, they could see it, they knew what had caused it, and they were able to fix it the same day. So very powerful. Okay, so I said I'd dive into 3 areas, and this is where I also see AI turning it round a bit, also playing a role in transforming how we work as marketers. So here then, what I'm going to dive into is, we see capabilities. I talked about behavioral analytics. I'm going to talk a bit about the AI marketing assistant here. So I'm going to show you a quick video. So does that feel like a real situation in your office? I mean, how many of us would like to have Robert De Niro as our marketing assistant? Quite a lot, I think. That's not at all anything like reality. The reality is that it's, to find those insights requires multiple data analysts, lots of time, and lots of effort. I started in marketing a long, long, long time ago, and I spent a lot of my time, admittedly quite happily in Excel, but, crunching numbers and reporting on campaigns. This is an enormous amount of time that actually has, of course, is able to be addressed more easily through technology so that we can free up our time to spend it on more creative things. And so here, and I'm sorry this isn't the best screenshot, but we have an AI assistant that really has started to transform how users engage with the platform. So you can ask it questions like, how did what were the campaigns I sent last month? Show me the results of the campaigns I sent last month. How does that compare to the ones from the previous month? And then if you notice something in that data, you can say, well, hang on a second, why did that campaign perform better than the other one? What was the difference in the subject line? And you can start to drill in, and it really displays this data in real time. And what that means is that rather than downloading lots of data and trying to find things, it's a great example of AI and humans working together to more quickly come to what's important and focus in and display those results. I spoke with a client the other day who said that this has transformed his Monday morning, that he normally spent pulling all the reports, putting them into nice format and sending them to his boss. That used to take him about 4 hours, and he does this now in very short space of time, 15 minutes, half an hour, has the information he needs. So I think a good example of how we can expect to start engaging with these platforms to optimize our time and be more efficient. So I touched on a few of these examples, but for we very much believe that it's about AI not as a buzzword, not as a separate application that needs to be coded in, but where are the practical applications where we can embed AI into our marketing platform to enable you to work smarter and unleash brilliance. So, I've today been talking about the Acoustic Marketing Cloud, which has capabilities across creating campaigns and building, automating campaigns across email, mobile, social, and more. Of course, around creating content, providing channel and experience analytics, and enabling you to personalize all of those experiences across channels. Underneath it, and this I think is what makes it different and I think addresses some of the points that we heard very eloquently talked about in the panel, is our exchange. And this is all about having an open ecosystem that allows you to connect all of those data sources. I don't believe in a walled garden approach. I don't believe that there is a single marketing stack out there that will answer all of your needs for all industries. You will, of course, have your own solutions in-house. You'll have data in multiple sources. You'll have other niche products that you'll continue to want to use, and we know that. So our platform is very much built on this idea of being able to easily exchange data with pre-built integrations, including into our competitors' products, as well as, of course, a number of others. And we believe that that means that you have a much higher ability to create those personalized experiences that consumers are expecting. So that's it. When customer experience is king, marketing runs the business, which is what we all want to do. So thank you very much. I've got a bit of time for questions, and otherwise I hope that you will join us for drinks after the next session out there, and maybe I'll speak to you there as well. So thank you.